Womble tritt an gegen einen 24 Jahre jungen Engländer. Er ist der World Youth Champion von 2014. Aktuell die Nummer 54 der Welt. Herzlich willkommen, The Needle, Keegan Brown. Und zum dritten Match gibt es auch den nächsten Caller. Der Mann hat das Finale zuletzt des World Grand Prix gecallt. Herzlich willkommen, Kirk Bevins, der Kirkulator.
Game 3 of the Happy Bet European Darts Trophy. We've already seen 100 average, that coming from the Austrian Zoran Lurchbacker. Yes, an Austrian dart player throwing 100 average, and it's not Mensur Suljevic. It's the Hyper Cane. And Keegan Brown and Jonathan Worsley produce something similar as the Needle takes on the Womble here for a place in the second round of the final European Tour event of the year. Some tough qualifying games. Keegan Brown came through to be here, beat Kyle Anderson, and then beat Willie O'Connor, who's obviously just booked his place at Alexandra Palace for the first time in his career, winning the Tom Kirby Memorial on the final day at the World Grand Prix. Jonathan Worsley saw off Ross Twell and Luke Woodhouse, perhaps not quite as illustrious names. However, we know how tough it is to qualify for these European Tour events, don't we, Paul, in the asset?
Yes. It's been a while for me. But you've got to give credit to the lads who are here. And Keegan's playing very well right now. This is a very tough assignment for John Worsley. It really is, because Keegan's up for this. I spent a lot of time with him this week. He's up for this.
Ladies and gentlemen, first leg is Jonathan to throw first. Game on.
Well, very similar. Well, somebody's enthusiastic about it. Very similar to Jermaine Watermain, Keegan Brown. He's looking to make the final session of action if he is going to get to the European Championship in Belgium. Jonathan Worsley, I mean, he's going to have to go all the way to the final. And there's nothing to suggest in Jonathan Worsley's CV that that is likely to happen this weekend. But don't rule it out, because we have seen we've seen so many surprise finalists on the Pro Tour this year. We're less likely to see surprise finalists on the European Tour, but it can happen. I mean, you know, go back 3 years when we had 8 different winners from 8 events and all kinds of finalists. And particularly this week, where certain players going into the final Players' Championship event of the year knew they had to go on a seemingly impossible run to make it to the Players' Championship finals, and a number of them did. Not just one, not just Jamie Caven, Jeffrey Desvaughn did as well.
Well, John Worsley has got his own little battle ahead. 100. I'm not so sure that the Europeans is in his mind. I think his tour card is in his mind.
Yeah.
Keegan just wants to get
55.
His Ali Pali place sorted out. He's in position right now. He can sort it out with his own brilliance, with a couple of really good wins this weekend. But right now, all he needs to do is beat Jonathan Worsley.
100.
And Jonathan is playing very steadily in this leg. It's not a bad thing for Keegan, because it puts him into action, and that's his response.
Jonathan, you require 101.
Well, both round about the 400 points scored from their first 4 visits to the board. If they can produce another one here, it might be enough for the leg. Tops is enough for the leg.
Game shot on the
and the Womble takes
Jonathan
it.
Worsley. Second leg is Keegan to throw first. Game on.
Now, I may have been talking to you a little bit in that leg, Dan, but that seemed to be a 5-ton leg. Something that we don't see very often anymore. Old school darts.
84.
From a very new school look player, someone who is very much a collector of dart shirts as well as a maker of dart shirts.
Has he got one of yours?
He has got one of mine. He did ask me for one of my World Cup ones, which
57.
Politely asked him to go away because it was mine. But you know when someone loves darts
96.
and having a dart shirt with a Womble on the front and some very colourful darts isn't enough, and you've got probably the most obvious darting tattoo in the history of darts on your throwing arm, which is facing the camera.
Yeah.
140.
It doesn't leave you any doubt as to what sport this man plays, does it?
He's definitely not a tiddlywinker, that's for sure.
58.
Nothing wrong with that, though. We love darts too, and we love people who love it.
Well, I think Jonathan Worsley, based down in Chepstow in Wales, I think he does a lot of work with the JDC, if I'm not mistaken, bringing through the next generation
100.
of dart players. Some fantastic work done all over the country, but I'm pretty sure Jonathan Worsley does some work down in that part of the world in South Wales. Jamie Caven is here this weekend, of course, does a lot of work in Derby. Steve Brown, who's not here this weekend, is the guy, the mastermind, if you will, the Junior Darts Corporation. But that's going all over, literally all over the world. Got Germany, Australia, all sorts.
Yeah, I think this week
100.
they've started their presence in Austria.
127.
Now then. Oh.
102.
Not to be.
Jonathan, you require 104.
And Worsley, having already taken out 104 for a 15-dart leg, 101, sorry, for a 15-dart leg, is looking at 104. Not going to go.
Now Keegan,
56.
for his own
Keegan, you require
confidence,
25.
will want to take this out in 2, just to send a message. Double 4.
Yeah,
and he needs that one.
Keegan Brown.
Doesn't want to give John Worsley
Jonathan to throw first.
anything
Game on.
to look at. With 2 darts at a double, he gets no looks. This could be a very good game because both guys have had runs recently on the Pro Tour. Keegan
96.
has been in form the last few weeks, qualifying very regularly for these European Tour events through September and October.
140.
But John Worsley, let's not forget, made a quarter-final recently, Dan.
He did, and that was his first quarter-final, his only quarter-final in senior PDC darts. Keegan made one on Tuesday in Barnsley, and that followed one in Barnsley in July as well. And that brought to an end a run of, I mean, we're talking months and months for Keegan to have made the last 8 of a Pro Tour event. And as you say, he has been qualifying for these European
96.
Tour events, and you've seen the names. He beat Kyle Anderson and Willie O'Connor, both in form to make it to this particular one. He's been quite good at getting through the opening game as well. Second round German Darts Grand Prix, second round International Darts Open.
99.
The winner of this one goes through to face Benito van der Pas, the number 11 seed, who's blown very hot and cold this year.
Yeah, people looking at Benito a little bit differently this time.
95.
This year, as opposed to this time last year. He was a different animal last October.
He's still very capable of going up there and putting in a world-class display, Benito, but he's not been doing it as regularly, and when he has been doing it, he's had a poor game afterwards often.
100.
That is superb from Jonathan Worsley. First maximum of this encounter leaves him a 2-darter. Brown looking at the biggest check out of the lot.
Had a little phantom dart before that, though, didn't he? Bullseye. Oh, he's had 2 shots at it already.
Jonathan,
he may not be getting
67.
closer, per se, but he is scaring it. Might not get another visit because Worsley has got 67. What's he going to do?
Single 18 or 10 for tops. Big deep breath for the womble.
27.
Just a little bit
requires
high.
25.
Well, it was 25 in the last leg, wasn't it? Is it 25 again? Yes, it is.
Third leg.
Don't leave Keegan Brown 25.
It's Keegan to throw
he
first.
will take it out.
Game on.
That's a valuable breaker throw. Small margins. That was a good shot from John Worsley. Only just too much juice on it. All of a sudden, Keegan pounces. He's the one that's 2-1 in front.
I may be misremembering it. I mean, you've got to go back a little while when Keegan first burst on the scene. Sort of 2014 kind of time when he won the World Youth Championship as Worsley.
139.
Comes downstairs, settles for the 139. He obviously went to the Grand Slam of Darts, made the quarterfinals, and you thought, hang on, we've got a player here. We've got a player here who can do this kind of thing on a regular basis. And he's always been quite an ebullient character. He's always been, it seemed like he's quite at home on the big stages. But it's only really recently that he seems to have had a bit of aggression to it. You see some very vocal celebrations from him. I think more so than we've seen before. I don't know if that's just a symptom of the fact that he has been struggling. He's just actually really enjoying
59.
taking out these shots and winning these legs, and by consequence these games nowadays.
I think you're right, Dan. I think sometimes when players go through swales of form, sometimes they just get a little bit of frustration in their bloodstream.
100.
And when they have an opportunity to let it out, it's usually in front of a camera. And there is a bit of aggression in the Keegan Brown game, and there's nothing wrong with that for me.
119.
I think it's added something to his talent.
Well, I mean, I don't see anything technically different in how he plays the game from when he first broke through. But obviously,
140.
he has had a tough time, and he's stuck with it. And now he seems to be working his way back. Not going to take out the 142. Worsley's got a chance to break back here. And you would think
57.
he's going to go 2 for tops.
42.
You would think so. Or is it a 10 this time? It is a 10. Maybe that's because he missed tops last time. Double 16. He's got it.
On the fourth leg, Jonathan Worsley.
He's got his own aggression.
Fifth leg is Jonathan to throw
Michael Van
first.
Gogh would have been
Game
proud
on.
of. But John Worsley, as you know, Dan, I like to look at an action and critique it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like no other action I've ever seen. There's hyperextension of the throwing arm before he throws. Notice the pivot of the
60.
elbow goes past the point of straight, and he does that before he's even thrown it.
And his extension, he does extend his arm, but he doesn't extend to that point. It's a good
140.
job, because you would think you would do some serious damage if he actually kept on doing that every time he throws. You can see he locks it, and pulls it back, and then it's not. It's a decent extension of the arm, but it's not in any way powering through to as far as he does when he first locks it in place.
Yeah, if he was hyperextending twice for one dart, I'd say there would be problems in his future.
140.
Yeah. Much like I've said about Rob Cross, the #1 seed for the Players' Championship. Now, he's got an incredible amount of talent, Rob, but the amount of follow-through there is on that dart, I can see he might need some ointment
140.
in his future. Let's hope not.
Ah, an interesting view.
As you can see, the smoothness of the Brown throw.
100.
There's no real...
There's no jerk, is there?
There's no
It's
jerk,
all
yeah.
just flows.
It's very more Barney-like. It just seems to come to a lovely soft crescendo, as opposed to a lot of the violent follow-throughs that we do see in the game.
180.
There's nothing wrong with that, though.
Keegan 121.
And now, Keegan needs this 1-2-1.
Oh. Oh.
Game on the fifth leg.
12
Keegan
darter,
Brown.
1-2-1 checkout. Stunningly
Set
taken
leg
out by
Keegan to
Keegan
throw
Brown.
first.
3-2.
Game on.
Well, we should expect people to take those things out, especially when they're in form. But this time of the year, every single dart player on the tour knows this is the time of the year to play well.
180.
More proof from Keegan Brown that October is the time to play well, because you can open a lot of doors. And right now, Keegan Brown is opening doors.
Certainly is. Well, he's got to go and make the final session of
60.
action if he's going to make it to the European Championship, Keegan Brown. He has not made it to the Euros before. But as you say, that Ali Pali spot is so important
57.
for players. Keegan's ranked 54 in the world right now. Now, you know, that's all right. You can keep your tour card. You're in the top 64, but you want to just be putting as much
60.
distance between yourself and that 64th spot as possible. And you want to be playing well going into Ali Pali, because you might not be involved in everything
180.
between now and then, but if he continues to throw as he is doing here in the last 2 or 3 legs, then Keegan Brown is going to be a threat this weekend, because the average now for Keegan has moved into the high 90s.
60. Keegan, you require 84.
He's lifted his game when John Worsley's not been able to live with it. Double 12.
Game
And
shot on the
this
sixth
is
leg.
very good.
Keegan Brown.
Just when he needed it,
Seven leg
right
is
in the middle of the
Jonathan to throw
game,
first.
he's made a
Game on.
statement. Now, Keegan, you mentioned the World Championship spot. He may be in the mid-50s in the world, but he's very conscious of the fact that if he doesn't make it, the money that he's defending at Ali Pali might take him so close to that 64 spot that he
38.
might have to go to Q School, and he doesn't want to go.
No, certainly does not. He is currently 14 grand clear of that 64th spot. But
60.
when you look at players who are on the up, say somebody like Ratajski does go and make Ali Pali with the 20 grand he's picked up on the Euro Tour, another 11 grand from Ali Pali, you know, you start closing in on that 64. And if Ratajski wins a game at the World Championship, if he wins 2, then, you know, there's another player who's hunting you down. Fiercely competitive, but Keegan Brown is a competitor.
Looking at that area where Keegan's in, you look at someone like Richard North, who's defending no money for over the next 12 months. He's probably going to overtake Keegan unless Keegan keeps his form going. But look at Andy Hamilton at 62. May have to go to Q school. He'll be earmarking that PDPA qualifier at the end of November
43
as a deal breaker.
Yeah, we've got a huge amount of big darts tournaments coming up, of course. You know, the Grand Slam of darts, the European Championship, the Players' Championship finals.
44.
But for a lot of players, this is their last weekend of action, unless they sneak in via qualifiers for some of those big tournaments. And it's their last weekend to do something about their world ranking and either get into tournaments or avoid losing their tour cards, or just give them something to feel good about their game going into the World Championship if they do manage to qualify for it.
60.
Now we're to the third game of the afternoon, Dan, and we've harped on about a lot of different permutations, but if you're a proper darts fan, you should be watching all weekend because there's a story in every match. And the story right now is the bull. Oh, it's the only way to go for it. Keegan Brown lives by the sword, and he loves that way to go for 118. He's got that number all right.
Well. Keegan Brown has just produced a 118 checkout on the bull after firing in an 11 darter and a 12 darter to just grab a hold of this game against Jonathan Worsley. In the early stages, Worsley was given as good as he got. But Keegan Brown, acknowledging the support he's had, just must have a different feeling every time he goes on stage these last few weeks, Keegan Brown, compared to what it's been like for the past, 18 months
85.
Let's not forget as well about the qualification timings for getting into September tournaments and October tournaments.
60.
Keegan played well in qualifiers to play in September. We have to emphasize the importance of that. Playing well in July and August to get through and actually play on stage
59.
in September and October. The ability to do that has allowed him to kick forward in the last few weeks.
Yeah, you've got to give yourself the opportunities to go and perform.
58.
As well as then going and seizing those opportunities. It's a tough life as a pro dart player. You're travelling a lot. You're away from home a lot. And to be able to... You can't just phone in. There are very few players talented enough to just turn up and play in third gear and do what they need to do to get in all the big tournaments. You've got to be at it all the time.
140.
And that is very, very tough when you've got all sorts of things going on, just in general.
Well, a lot of the guys went straight from Dublin to Barnsley to here.
Yeah.
So they may not have been home
22.
for well over 2, maybe even 3 weeks. This is a bruising part of the season. And with the German World Series event
100
next week, a lot of the guys are looking forward to a week off.
Yeah.
But one last spurt, and they could change everything. Keegan's doing everything right now. He may not need
60.
more than 3 darts to finish this match off.
Well, looking at the 18s, it's on for a 6-2 win, the bullseye. Which he hits again. Keegan Brown, superb stuff. Rattling off the last 4 legs. 12 darter, 11 darter. 118 on the bull, 122 on the bull. The former World Youth Champion is back in form, back playing with confidence, and he is into the second round to take on Benito van der Plas. That's 3 games down this afternoon. We've got 5 more from this session, and it's the turn of Latvia's Madars Razma against James Wilson. Both had very good runs on the Pro Tour in the last few days.
Good match, almost 100, average of 100. The checkout was pretty good. The last one as well.
It was good. John's actually bringing pain on the tool on the pro tool, and I knew what I had to do to beat him. So I'm more than happy to get 6 legs.
Benito van der Pass, the next one. He's waiting.
Yeah, we know what Benito can do. So if I can go out there and do the same, then hopefully it'll be the same result.
Yeah, it's cool. See you tomorrow again. Thank you very much. Keegan Brown. Der ist zufrieden mit seiner Leistung und sagt, Jonathan Worsley auch wirklich